Podcast. My name is Paul Barthel, and today we're talking about something that almost every small business owner struggles with and tries to avoid, I think, and that's video marketing. Maybe it's because they just don't understand it or think it's too expensive, or they think they have to be on camera. There's no way around it. So today we're going to talk about that and what it is and how small businesses can take advantage of what it has to offer. So Ken, I'll start with you. We've talked in the past about this omni-channel marketing thing, and so is this one of those channels, and why should small businesses be focused on it?
Well, video marketing isn't really a channel. It provides content, I think, for a lot of the channels and absolutely should be used in an omni-channel way. So for example, if you're going to be doing a video, that video is going to perform best on each individual platform. So creating a video, putting it on your YouTube channel, uploading it to your Facebook page, and this is really important, don't link to it as a link to your YouTube channel where that video lives. Upload it to Facebook because the performance of that video is going to be dramatically better when it's native to Facebook. Otherwise, Facebook is going to treat it as a link, and links don't perform nearly as well as video. So, but yeah, absolutely. I mean, video is the content that is getting the best reach. It's typically getting the best engagement, and it's really a powerhouse. You can use it across so many different things. You can take embedded video, put it on your website. You can obviously put video on pretty much any social media platform. You can take 30-second videos, put those on your Google My Business page. So there are a variety of videos, which I'm sure we're going to talk about, that you can use on pretty much any channel. LinkedIn gives you video capability. So it's really a powerhouse. And I think it's going to operate best for businesses when they do use it in an omni-channel way.
Okay, good information. Dan, you see a lot of companies out there. They'll put videos out there that are kind of entertainment focused, and you also see a lot of how-to videos. So how should a small business use these? Should they be entertainment focused, or should they be business focused and put on landing pages and websites? What do you think about that?
Well, good question, Paul. I think one of the things that you have to sometimes look at is, well, what is the person on camera personality like? A lot of times that's what I'm going off of whenever I've been filming somebody, or if they're going to do something on camera themselves. You kind of have to work a little bit with who they are, because you can't always make somebody who's very stiff and it's hard to loosen them up and suddenly make them into an entertaining, hilarious person. You have to sort of work with the audience that you have. And so I think, if it is somebody who can get a little bit loose, comfortable on camera, then I think sometimes that can lead to somebody who's conversational, which in turn can lead to somebody who is open to doing some things a little bit entertaining, perhaps. And then you can kind of work with them and say, all right, well, let's try some things that I wouldn't say like funny and goofy, but rather just a little bit looser than your typical business video. On the other hand, I will say most of the time, if you can keep it sort of the best of both worlds, you want to keep it nice and conversational for a business audience. And, I often say it more and more every day, is that you have to think like you're talking across the table to somebody in a coffee shop setting, and the video setting is no different. So the one thing I try not to do with people when it's how businessy, how entertainment-ish are we going to get, is try not to script some things out. I just don't think that's going to lend itself to feeling very natural at all. I don't think most people can pull that off. And I think the ones who do are really, really experienced at it. They can kind of glance at something and then they can glance right back like we didn't even see them. So I do think that you got to I would recommend starting in a business format if you can, and have it as a business application, because I do think that's going to lend itself more to where you're comfortable. but don't get too like scripty. Keep it natural. And I think that's what will make it a lot more comfortable for people. So just a quick tip on that is just simply, whether it's someone like me or these folks here on the call, or even a colleague, try an interview script. I'm sorry, not a script, but an interview off camera. And then you take out the person who's questioning, and you actually just leave the person who is answering those questions. And then it feels pretty darn natural, I think, at that point. So good way to loosen it up for a business setting.
Okay, and that kind of feeds into a question I have for Jen. A lot of people, a lot of business owners, they're uncomfortable being filmed or being on camera, and they think these videos have to be professionally made, which means a lot of money. And so what are your thoughts on that? Is it necessary for the business owner to be in these videos? Are there certain videos that should be professionally made and others that aren't? What do you think about that?
I think a lot of things about that. A lot of questions there. First of all, about the getting comfortable on video. It's so important to do that because, like Dan said, I mean, if you can get animated and you can get expressive, that's great. But if you can't, and you're a very kind of serious person and whatnot, that can come across on video just fine as well, right? We don't all have to be the hams on video. So what you have to offer, your point of view, your style, your personality, I mean, it's all valuable that can come through really well on video. I think the key is getting comfortable on video. So to answer your first question about getting comfortable on video, there are sort of low cost ways to do that. And I say low cost in the way of, oh my goodness, if I mess up, how am I going to feel? So with your handy cell phone, you can go live on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on your own personal channels, and just try a few, 10, 20-second live videos. It could be your opinion on something that happened in the business media today. Your 2 cents on that. Just get comfortable being on video, and the rest will come. As for the business owner always being in video, that doesn't have to happen. If you have people on your team that are naturally more inclined to hamming it up on video, why not use them? You can showcase your team, and that could be a great way to have your team get in front of video and show different aspects of your business. As for expensive, it doesn't have to be expensive. We're doing this right now on StreamYard. I think it's, we were talking just before the show, under $50 a month. So it does not have to be expensive at all. But I think the most important thing is the more comfortable the business owner gets with being on video or having their team on video, that can just snowball into other opportunities about how to use video to market your business.
Yeah, Jen, I wanted to kind of jump in there too, in terms of having team members. I think that's a really great thing to do when we look at, a social media strategy for a business. That's usually one of the more advanced things that we talk to a business about is, behind the scenes, showing the team members, things like that. Those videos are so powerful on social media channels because people want to know the people that they're doing business with, and they want to see them in action, and they want to get to know them. And those kinds of videos, I think, are just fantastic. So the business owner doesn't always have to be the person, or the professional spokesperson of the company doesn't always have to be the person in these videos.
Mm-hmm. We do have a question from the audience here. One came in. I want to throw it out to everybody here. The question is, do you have tips to get someone to loosen up before a video shoot? So anybody have any tips they can share? Yeah,
a quick one. Actually, sometimes if you're the person filming it, let's say like whether it's one of us or a colleague or somebody like that, and you're filming that person on camera, a little trick. Sometimes I actually hit record and I just start talking to them and I say, well, we're just gonna loosen up here a little bit. Let's just talk a little about some of the things we're gonna say. And that's some of the loosest stuff that I'll probably get in the entire session right there. And then they don't realize they're on camera and it's live. So, but they're like, okay, well, I'm going to talk about this and this and this. And then suddenly all of the good stuff comes out and they're very natural and it flows well. And then if you were to ever say, okay, now I'm actually going to start recording it, even though you've been recording the entire time, it's amazing how then suddenly they'll be like, okay, now I'm ready to go. That's not where you want to be. And so many times what I'll do is just keep it rolling the entire time, and just the stuff I will get will be the stuff where they don't think they're on camera. So give that a try. I think that sometimes helps to just loosen them up. Talk as early as you can.
I know I've seen some articles from Wistia, video hosting platform, that talks about just making sure you're moving around, before the shoot even, to get some energy up, to get some enthusiasm up, movement frees the body and it frees the mind. So doing that a little bit before you do the shoot is always a good thing as well. And Dan, I will just add, your strategy is great unless you're doing a live stream.
That's true. If you're doing a live stream, that's a little bit harder. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I would just jump in there and add that depending the type of video you're doing, this is a little bit different, but it's about preparation. If you actually do a dry run, especially if it's a presentation of some kind, prepare yourself, because the more prepared you are, the looser you will be, and the more natural. Like you don't have to follow your script, but once you know the stuff and you feel comfortable presenting it, you'll present it way better. But if it's a more authentic video, obviously just be loose, think happy thoughts, maybe tell yourself a joke before you jump on.
You know what? There is another thing I thought of, which happens a lot, is we all screw up. We all mess up on it when we're talking. We all forget what maybe for a split second what we're going to say, and we'll have an in there or something. Many times I think people are just way too harsh on themselves, and they'll be like, oh, I should start that over again. I know it's not possible on a live stream, but let's say, if you mess up, just keep going. Like, don't worry about it. All four of us saw a guy speak a couple of years ago about Facebook Live, and the great thing about Facebook Live or any live thing is you just got to keep going. And so even if it's recorded, keep going. Like, don't worry about it. Everybody actually appreciates the humanity of messing up a little bit within reason. So don't be so hard on yourself.
Blooper reels can be a really good addition to put at the end of a video too. I mean, it's you don't have to use it, but you've got it if you need to. And like you said, Dan, people like to see humans.
Bourbon can help.
And don't forget to breathe. Take big breaths before you start. It helps.
Mm-hmm.
So, Ian, obviously there's all kinds of different types of videos out there. So what types of videos should a business have or start with? If you have a business, they have no videos, they say, all right, I got a budget for 3-4 videos. What would you suggest they start with?
Yeah, I think businesses struggle with this because the sky truly is the limit. I'll list off a whole bunch of videos. There's video ads, there's welcome videos, there's sizzle reels about, an overview of your business. There's topical videos, onboarding videos, explainer videos. It goes on and on and on. But truthfully, when you look at it from a strategic stance, you really want to make sure that you're creating videos that fit with the buyer's journey. So I would usually start with a business where it's most natural and highest, giving you the highest return on investment. So for some businesses, that might be like a reactivation video that you're actually sending out through an email. So these are to people that are already your fans, they're already your customers, and maybe you haven't heard from them in a while. So that's a great video. It's not as much pressure because they're people you already know. Another great type of video is thinking top of the funnel, so top of the buyer's journey. So if you think of the buyer's journey as know, like, trust, try, buy, repeat, and refer, which we also call in the duct tape marketing world the marketing hourglass. It's really about, if you look at the no side, advertising is a fantastic place to start there. And you can create some really quick videos. On some advertising platforms, it's a 6-second video. So it's really, you want to get your message super concise and out there. Other great videos for local small businesses are just authentic videos where you're sharing your passion with people. People love authenticity and they love passion. And if you can express your passion through a video, that's fantastic. In fact, one of my favorite things when I'm doing onboarding with new clients is, and I haven't done this, I should do this, is actually set up a camera when I'm talking through the onboarding process, because one of my favorite questions with small businesses is, why did you get into this business? And all of a sudden, it's never not happened. Every time I do this, the person's eyes light up and they start sharing what really drove them to get into the business. And that's exciting. And when they say that, I get excited about their business. So those are great places to start.
All right, good. So Ken, let's say a business owner says, okay, I'll do a couple videos for you so you can use them in my marketing plan. So what are some things they should keep in mind? Should they use a script or a teleprompter? And what about editing the video after it's shot?
Yeah. So, I mean, again, it really depends on what the objective is. But as Ian said, I think one of the very first videos that many businesses should do is they should have a homepage video. And it should be either the main person in the business or the person that, the customer is going to most likely have the experience with. Again, because it's previewing what it's going to be like working with that business. And so that, we do a lot of different things where we literally could have somebody just stand in front of a clean white wall or put a white sheet behind them, and just use their smartphone, make sure they turn it landscape, and just do a quick, intro of who they are, what their business is, and the area they serve and the products that they have. Very short, maybe 10, maybe 15 seconds. Almost everybody can do that kind of a video. And then maybe at the end, just make a personal appeal to say, we would love to work with you guys. If you have any questions, contact us at such and such. And just wrap that up. And then that kind of sandwiches, a video that you could create with B-roll of pictures. You don't even have to use video. You can do the Ken Burns effect, if you will, where, you've got the picture zooming in or zooming out. And so you can, if you have a videographer, they're going to know how to do that. And then you tell the story of what your business does, and you can do that with voiceover. And so the business owner or the spokesperson of the business doesn't even really have to get on screen a lot. Now, we've also had customers where we've written scripts for them, and they stand in front of, the white background or green screen, whatever they have available. A videographer can swap that out, even if you always hear the term green screen, but they can actually work with a really solid, clean white surface as well. And, and then just deliver the script. You can do, we recommend, shooting 3 or 4 versions of that. Surely one of those takes is going to be the base, and then you can supplement it. Maybe you can tweak the audio a little bit because maybe you nailed it, except you didn't get the pronunciation of 1 or 2 words properly. But if you have that second or third recording, you can maybe just, again, the video person can grab that little audio snippet and replace just that single word or phrase that they kind of botched. And, so it can be really powerful. It's really cost effective. I think a lot of people think that it's going to cost thousands of dollars to get a professional video shot. I absolutely disagree with that. I think there's a time and a place for those videos, but I think a lot of businesses can, really work with video in a much more affordable way. And again, I think they can do a lot of this without a script. You don't have to have a script. You should plan in advance what you want to say. You should know what you want to talk about, but that doesn't mean you have to read from a script. I'm a horrible reader. If I have to read from a script, I will botch it up a lot. I mean, I just know. If I have to read numbers, I guarantee you I'm going to mess those numbers up. I know that for a fact. So, but I do voiceovers from time to time for my business, and occasionally, rarely, but occasionally for a customer. And so, if I have a script, if I go through it 2 or 3 times, I'm much less likely to botch up, those things that I know I'm going to mess up. So part of it is just practice, because then you know where you're going to be most likely to make a mistake. Don't worry about it if you make a mistake. It's not that big a deal. If it's not a live video, if it's just a recording that you're going to turn into a professional video to put on your website or put on social media or to use for a video ad, and video ads are fantastic, by the way. You can edit that and clean it up a lot, and there are some great tools, some very simple tools to make that happen.
Ken, I think that's a good point. I just want to jump in and say, like, for business owners, for anybody on video, there tends to be 2 different types. One is the type that goes, I need to go off the cuff. I know what I'm going to say. I'll just get it together as soon as, the light comes on.
Right.
And other people, they want the full list of questions. They might want to memorize the script. They might want to have the talking points. They need a few days to get prepared for it. Both ways are fine. So whatever way it takes for you, or, it's important for us to know our client, what works for them, and then either allow them to go off the cuff and, ham it up, or allow them the couple of days to, rehearse and get comfortable and figure out, what kind of stats they want to say. And then that comes through on the video too. They seem more natural, more confident, more in their element.
I think authenticity is key.
Yeah.
Don't try to be something you're not. Don't force it. Don't be artificial, because that's going to come through.
Definitely, I think the biggest thing too, if it's recorded, do not at all try to run through the entire thing. If you don't feel like you have to go through the entire 2-3 minutes and, oh, I made some mistakes, we should do it over again. That will take forever if you're not really, frankly, good enough to do that. And most of us are not. I mean, I don't think I even can many times go through an entire thing myself. And I've been doing this a while. So I try to do bite-sized stuff with people and say, can you just do the next 30 seconds? To your point, Ken, you were saying about scripts. I think a lot of times I don't do scripts anymore. I do outlines and say, here are the 3 kind of points we want to make in the next 30 seconds. And again, this is recorded rather than live. So I just say, give me something on these 3 points. And many times it works out just fine, because if you can just get them to focus, on that little piece, focus on that, get that down, even if it takes 2 or 3 takes, and then move on to the next 30 seconds. Now, if somebody's just rocking and rolling and they're doing a great job and it's coming off, like they've been doing this for decades, great. Then we'll keep the camera rolling and I just have them go. But most of the time, my expectation is let's just do like 20 to 30 seconds, get that down, and then just do another 20 to 30. And before you know it, we can splice some things together and make it look good.
And one of the things that's often overlooked is, especially for people, because there's a lot of people that hate being on camera for whatever reason, right? We all have our own inhibitions. But one of the easiest things that businesses, especially small businesses, can do is leverage the powerful tool called PowerPoint. It's often overlooked for actually creating videos, but it is a super platform for creating a video. Like most or a lot of small business owners know how to do a PowerPoint presentation. It doesn't mean they're always great PowerPoint presentations, but you can basically create an explainer video or present an idea to people using PowerPoint while recording your voice. And that takes away if you don't want to be on screen, you can create a great video that way yourself, very low cost, right? And it's a fantastic tool that I forget sometimes as well.
Yep.
All right, those are some really good points. So Dan, from a content perspective, can a blog post be turned into a video, or can a video be turned into a blog post? Are there advantages to doing this?
Yes and yes. I think if you can do, let's take a blog post to video. I think the nice thing about blogs, getting those down, is that, first of all, in both cases, both formats, that you really have to remember, sometimes your audience has different preferences. Sometimes they just want to click a button and watch you. They don't want to necessarily read everything. And then other times, they actually enjoy reading, let's say, on a phone or tablet or something like that. So their reading preferences might be different. So I definitely think you should explore both for that reason. There's no such thing, I think, as too much SEO, too much search engine optimization. So I think when you can, let's say, have a video down, have a blog on it as well, and you can probably expand on some thoughts too. You know, it doesn't have to be a carbon copy necessarily. If you talked about something for 2 minutes, you might say, well, if you want to see some extra thoughts, go onto the blog on my website and you'll see how some additional thoughts that I have there. So these things do not have to copy each other word for word. And one other thing I think that is pretty important here is that, let's say that you do a blog and you get that down first and then you want to do a video. Well, one thing I want to mention about that is you can do sort of the straightforward, thing that feels a little bit more like an announcer kind of thing, straight on. But many times, one thing I want to mention that could be good from blog to video is you can kind of turn to the side a little bit, like you're looking at the camera looking at someone off camera, like they're an interviewer. And that feels very kind of lifestyle-ish, like, oh, I just happen to be talking to someone off screen in the moment. I've been trying to play around with that a little bit lately, rather than being, well, it's me and it's Dan and I'm here to announce something to you. You can have some mixing up like that, and I think that brings a fresh perspective from blog to video.
We've got some tools that'll actually take a blog feed, use artificial intelligence, pull out the headlines and the key points, and turn that into a short, 2-minute video or 90-second video. And it's even smart enough to where it'll try to pull context relative pictures or videos and put them in there for you. And then you just go in and you edit it, you clean it up. If you don't like an image, if the text over the top of the image or video doesn't work, it's a matter of a couple of minutes, maybe 15 minutes, worst case scenario. And now you've got a little video promo of your blog post hitting the key points. And then that's a great way to drive people to get onto your website to learn more and dig into that content a little bit more effectively.
There's definitely
those tools off the top of my head, but I know, Ian, you and I probably have seen a bunch of those. I know I've got a handful of them already that we use periodically for ourselves and for our clients.
There's definitely just another thought, and this I don't want to step on Ian's question because I know that this is something he's going to probably address, but you can definitely have different clips too as you go from blog to video. So there's probably some social media that will be better for when you're doing a video of, do that long video version of the video, but there's going to be some social media that probably doesn't allow you to do really long stuff. So, definitely do blog to video, but then think once you have the master, how can I chop this thing up?
Well, also don't forget about, if you're going to do a video, have that transcribed and then put that transcription on your website. That's ridiculously great for SEO.
Okay, so Jen, back to you. Once the video is ready, it's got to be hosted somewhere. Obviously, there's YouTube, which is a free, won't go into that too much, but a free hosting service. But there's also paid hosting services. Which one should they use, and are there advantages and disadvantages to each approach? What are some of those?
Absolutely. Well, small business owners and anyone in control of a budget might like the word free. So YouTube is free to upload your video there. But don't shy away from having your videos hosted. A couple points here. First of all, surprisingly affordable. Can be as low as $5 a month, depending on your plan. So do check it out before you just think, this video thing is going to be too expensive. Also, if it's hosted, your performance is going to be better. There's nothing crazier than trying to wait for a video to load, right? People are just not going to wait for it. And all your hard work into that video is just going to be kibosh because, the hosting is too slow. Cons on that is depending on what hosting program you go with, there might not be enough room to grow. After you get more and more comfortable with this and you find video working for you, you may find that you've outgrown your package. You also have to be careful of security as well. So make sure whatever hosting company you're going with, make sure their security is up to snuff. And one thing for anybody thinking, you know what, I'll just host this on my own website. You don't want to be doing that at all. You're in business to do a certain type of business. You don't want to get into the business of video hosting. It's just a whole other, technical, can of worms to go down.
Yeah, that's a good point about hosting on our website. Most website hosting platforms are not designed to host video. They just don't have the bandwidth to do it. So that's an excellent point.
Yeah, I think if you want your video to be publicly available, always put it on YouTube. But if you're going to put that video on your website, I don't recommend YouTube, because YouTube will steal your traffic. Because it's too easy for people to click through and go watch that next cat video or whatever the suggested video is at the end of that. So that's where using a real video hosting platform that's designed for that gives you actually really great bells and whistles, even with a lot of the simple plans, where you can have calls to action embedded over the top of the videos, or what they call turnstiles or gates, where people, halfway through, before they can watch the rest of the video, you can ask them for, their contact information before they can watch the rest of the video. If that's appropriate, those tools give you those capabilities. So definitely check those out. Those are absolutely worthwhile.
Yeah, and just in addition to that, everybody's probably seen this, but YouTube, when you embed it on your website, it at the end of the video, it puts up in, and this is, I think what Ken was talking about, is it puts up related videos or totally unrelated videos. It says it's related, but I've had instances where, and it's based on your own viewership as a person. So if you're big into just what Ken was saying, cat videos, then when you visit this local plumber's website and you watch the video about why you should purchase from that plumber, at the end of that video, it will probably show cat videos as the next option, which is not a good, you're sending the wrong message, because you're sending mixed messages there. So I think that's a really good point about, or really good reason of why you might want to consider hosting it on Wistia or Vimeo or one of these other platforms.
Yeah, the other thing too is you can click to watch that video on YouTube, which takes them off of your website, and you may never get them back.
Great point.
So that's why I am not a fan of embedding YouTube videos on a website. I mean, sometimes that's your only option, but if it's your video, it's worth investing in a video hosting platform.
Now, not to get super technical about it, but if you're doing it on your own platform, you can do something where you change a little bit of the code in there. And don't worry, you don't have to be like a crazy coder kind of programmer person. But if you guys look for like just YouTube, something that says, how do I not see related videos at the end, you'll see you can just change a little piece there and you won't get the next videos. Now, you can't fix that when you're sharing it out there in the world, like on LinkedIn or stuff like that. But you can definitely do it when it's on your own website. You just change that. You won't see any of those related ones. It'll just end right there. So just, be aware of the differences when you're sharing it out there, and you'll be okay. But I agree with you guys. If the part that you still can't get around is it's not going to give you any call to action. And that's where Wistia and I think Vimeo, definitely Wistia will be a better play.
And I have some bad news about that, Dan. YouTube keeps changing that code. So what worked 2 years ago doesn't work anymore. There's still some little tweaks you can do, but it's way harder for you to do that from a web development side.
You're kidding.
No, because it's to YouTube's benefit to do those related videos, right? They're trying to take you off the website, but yeah, it's getting harder and harder to do that, unfortunately.
Well, yeah,
every time somebody figures that out, they go and change it.
Yeah,
really?
I mean that's the nature, of free. You get what you pay for.
Oh man. I'm glad you said something, because I've always had it that way for the longest time and thought, well, I just can do it, and that's that. Can't believe they changed it. Well, that kind of sucks. Okay, then folks, you should probably go to Wistia.
Well, Ian, let's final question for you. Okay, so we have the video. We maybe have our hosting, given that last conversation. So how do we use this in our marketing campaigns? And are they just for social media, video ads? This has been mentioned a little bit earlier, and like I think it was Dan mentioned, you have a long video. Can you clip that up into shorter snippets? So how do we use it?
Yeah, great question. And I mean, this really does take you back to you need a strategy for your videos, any content you're creating, but especially video content, because it's an investment. Whether it's just your time and your energy, it's still an investment that takes you away from other things. So it's really important to have a plan. Things that you can do, obviously, part of that plan is to get yourself in front of as many eyeballs of ideal customers as possible. That's the point, right? You're trying to build a relationship with people. You're trying to move them through their buyer's journey. Or you're just trying to have fun. It depends on what your purpose is, but you need to have a purpose. You need to have a plan. But then for sure, like, it just makes sense. Get it on YouTube. It's free. It's the second largest search engine in the world. And of course, Google pulls YouTube videos into its search engine because it owns YouTube. So you got to get it on YouTube. Social media, it's a no-brainer. If you have a social media channel and people are following you, and those are your ideal customers or your connections that could share that content with other people, get it on there. Super easy, and it's free. Advertising. There are so many platforms, and again, it's all about the strategy of who do you want to get in front of, which dictates which platform to advertise on. But you can advertise now with video ads on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, Snapchat, and of course, YouTube. You can get your video in front of the right eyeballs, and there's lots of forms of targeting as well. So just think strategically about where you want, where is your ideal customer? How can I get in front of them? And then, of course, think about budget. I'm sure you guys have some additional thoughts on that, though.
Yeah, don't forget about display ads. Display ad networks, not just Google's, but others, give you the ability to do video ads as well. So, video is really great.
Oh, and I totally
say, I'm sorry, go ahead, Ian.
I totally forgot. I meant to say this, but your website, get it on your website.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's your real estate on the internet, so get it on your website.
Well, and don't forget also about Google My Business.
Right.
My Business. It's funny because it used to be a thing. I don't know. It's changing by the day. It used to be a thing where you could pretty much 30 seconds was all you could put on Google My Business for uploading. Don't tell anyone in the world. It'll be our little secret. But I think you can do a minute and a half. They haven't slapped my hand yet. So I think you can probably upload some videos to Google My Business, which is pretty awesome for some potential visibility.
Yeah, I think, if you haven't dipped your toes in the video marketing channel, 2021 is the time to do it. I mean, it's just the content that performs the best. It's so multi-purpose. It lends itself to this omni-channel strategy that we've talked about in past episodes. And, we live in a world right now where there's still, are a lot of people who can't experience the world the way we used to a year ago. And video is the next best thing to being able to meet and see somebody face to face. So this is a real important year for video. Make sure you get it in your marketing strategy. That's just my opinion, but it's something we're really focused on this year.
All right, well, that's some good information. This is probably a good place to wrap it up. So I'd like to thank everyone for offering their insights on this, and we'll be back next week.